It's going to be very difficult for Dan Marino because he has to go to Buffalo to beat the Bills. And Chris, the Bills are really on a roll offensively, but defensively, they're a lot better this year than a year ago.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Lenny. And I had a chance to talk with Walt Corey, the defensive coordinator of the Bills today, and he said that there are two real areas of improvement in that Bills defense. One with the return of Bruce Smith. He's been able to take Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett and move them around that Bills defense and create some confusion on the opponent's offensive side of the ball. And the other area of improvement has been in the defensive secondary. Henry Jones was drafted as a corner last year. They moved him to strong safety. He's done a great job against the run, but he also gives them an added dimension in that secondary. When the Dolphins come out and their three wide receivers set, Jones will be able to match up with the slot receiver without Walt Corey having to substitute. That gives them a real edge.
Well, Chris, you hit on the biggest problem that the Dolphins have. If they have any chance of winning that ball game, they're going to have to overcome Kelly's game plan. The game plan, very simply, put the Buffalo offense in the formations that create the best mismatch for Buffalo. For example, he's going to try to isolate Andre Reed on safety Louis Oliver. This has been an absolute nightmare for Louis Oliver. He hasn't covered Andre Reed in 3 years and probably won't get any better on Sunday. The other big mismatch is Thurman Thomas coming out of the backfield against the linebackers David Griggs and Brian Cox. If that happens and he's able to isolate those receivers, it's going to be a lot of points on the board for Buffalo.
Well, there is some good news for the Miami Dolphins. Keith Jackson and Mark Clayton have been able to work out all week, so they should be available for Dan Marino on Sunday. But when I look at this, that is not going to be enough. I think that the Bills just have too many weapons offensively. Defensively, Smith is back to his old form, so Dan Marino will not have enough time to work on the Bills' secondary. I think the Bills will win, and I don't think it's going to be close. Nick,
well, Miami's defensive line, Lenny, is just not good enough to get to Kelly without blitzing, and to me that is fatal. I think Buffalo wins.
Yeah, the Dolphins have really struggled against much lesser opponents. Against the Buffalo Bills, I give them almost no chance, especially in Buffalo. I really like the Bills.
You know another thing I like about this game? It pits two Western Pennsylvania quarterbacks, two competitors against each other, and the winner, that team will be leading the AFC East.
Of late, the Dolphins have become an easy target in Buffalo, and the only thing Bills fans enjoy more than squishing the fish is dissing Dan Marino.
Daddy's playing today for the ladies.
Oh, please, Bruce. Yes. Please, Bruce. Don't save me. I won't hit you in my purse. Oh, please, Bruce. Yeah. Oh, please, Bruce.
I'll give you a free pair of isotoner gloves, Bruce.
Yeah.
All the attention you get when you're undefeated. Big, prime time.
Time to get busy. Here go what we see, what we made of, baby.
The Dolphins may have entered the game undefeated, but they had also been untested up until Sunday.
Let's go. Let's go. Don't be a dogfight out there. Don't be a dogfight.
Miami had lost 10 of its last 11 battles with the Bills, but this time Dan Marino came armed with an expensive new weapon.
To throw, and now it's going to run to the right, throws on the run, and it is caught by the tight end Keith Jackson, and he dives in for the touchdown. Keith Jackson.
Signed as a free agent just 6 days earlier, ex-Eagle tight end Keith Jackson caught 4 passes, including one for the game's first touchdown, and seemed right at home with his new teammates.
When I saw that ball, I said, I'm taking this. I'm going for the zone. I saw that red. I said, I'm going for the zone. That's for Jerome Brown, baby. All my boys back in Philly. What's up, man? Hate I had to leave you.
On the whole, the Bills would rather Jackson was back in Philadelphia, as his addition kept the Buffalo defense off balance much of the day and opened the downfield passing lanes for Dan Marino. Marino completed passes to 7 different targets, including a forgotten man who missed the team's charter to Buffalo. But Bobby Humphrey arrived in time to fly the friendly skies to a team-high 6 catches and 1 score. Miami methodically picked apart the Bills and forced Jim Kelly to play catch-up most of the day.
Let's go! Let's go, Jimbo. We need 6. Let's do it. Come on. Let's go offense.
Employing a scheme that put 2 linebackers on the defensive line and 5 defensive backs in the secondary much of the day, Miami pulled the plug on the NFL's highest-scoring offense, pressuring Kelly into 4 interceptions, including the one that put the game away.
throw. Throws it, and it is intercepted and brought back to the 20, the 25, the 30, the 35, the 40, and down the sideline goes Louis Oliver for the touchdown. How do you like that? An electrifying interception and return by Louis Oliver.
Louis Oliver's NFL record-tying 103-yard return was one of his 3 interceptions on the day and helped Miami snap a 6-game losing streak at Rich Stadium. More importantly, it moved the still unbeaten Dolphins into sole possession of first place in the AFC East.
4-0, baby! 4-0! HBO, what's up? I keep telling y'all, we riding them Buffalo all the way back to Miami. We on the Buffalo back. We on this back. Yeah.
Week on the show, you said, hey, they signed Keith Jackson. They got a bargain basement price for this guy, even though we paid him $6 million over 4 years. A couple of the receivers on that team didn't think so, but what dividends has he paid?
Lenny, I think the Dolphin players wondered, how much better is Jackson really going to make our football team? But after his first catch and run, it was quite obvious that Jackson had taken the Dolphins to a new level. Not only was the offense inspired, but the defense played with a domination that I haven't seen in years. I can honestly say, guys, that I think that Jackson has made Miami a Super Bowl contender, much to the dismay of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, especially Bills general manager Bill Polian, who said after the ball game that the signing of Keith Jackson has disrupted the competitive balance of the National Football League. Well, Bill Polian had better wake up, because at the end of this season, there are going to be 300 more players available as free agents. And if all he does is just sit around on his hands and not go out and try and sign some of these players, it may be Bill Polian who becomes a free agent.
Well, you know, if that happens, there are going to be a lot of guys that can sign with different teams, and they'll sign for different reasons. Money, you know, the organization, the opportunity to win. Location of the 3 guys last week that signed, they went to contenders: Miami, Houston, and San Francisco. Now, Nick, there are some clubs not doing real well at the present time. One I would mention would be New England. You grew up in that area. You played for the Patriots. If someone came to you and say, should I sign with the Patriots, what would you say?
Absolutely not, Lenny. Sure, they have new ownership, which is good, and good coaches, but the one thing that the New England Patriot players have never been treated with, that is respect. They're treated like second-class citizens. They play in a second-rate stadium. I think New England is going to have a tough time keeping their own free agents, never mind attracting others. I think it's going to be a tough road for the Patriots.
Well, the owners have been treating the players like second-class citizens for a long time. As a matter of fact, Keith Jackson said that one of the reasons that he left Philadelphia is because Eagles owner Norman Brayman told him that he owned him. He owned him. How ridiculous a statement is that? Well, it's those kinds of statements that will come back to haunt these owners and cost them some free agents.
He's of the younger generation. When we signed, they did own us, because if we wanted to play football, we had to play right there. But